Episode 7, Matt's Tragedy. The security guards carried Natalie and dragged her out like a dead dog. However, Matt remained indifferent to all of this. "Matt, save me! Aren't you a rich man? Your family is so strong. Are you really scared of that poor James? Hurry up and tell them to let go of me. You are a VIP here. They will listen to you. Matt, please save me. I'm your girlfriend." Natalie struggled weakly as she looked at Matt with pleading eyes. She kept begging him as the guards dragged her out. However, Matt stood on his spot. That cold-blooded and heartless attitude was even colder and more ruthless than an animal. He even scolded Natalie. "Shut up, you idiot. From now on, you have nothing to do with me." Matt's words were like a sharp knife that pierced into Natalie's heart. Her eyes were clouded with despair. She thought Matt would be her biggest reliance, but she did not expect him to be such a filthy guy. She forgot that she had done the same to James. At that moment, she suddenly recalled all the good things James had done for her. Waves of regret filled her heart and whole body. She hated herself for being fooled by money earlier. She wished she could go back and redo everything. Back then, James doted on her, sheltered her from the wind and rain, and treated her like a princess. However, she treated his sincerity as dog shit. Now she regrets leaving James. Unfortunately, she could not return to the past. Natalie's heart was aching with remorse. However, everything was already set in stone. There was no turning back. All that was left in her eyes was a deep sense of helplessness and confusion about the unknown future. Wait a moment. Matt's inhumane actions made James unable to continue watching. He immediately stretched out his hand and shouted at Manager Williams. Although he hated Natalie, at this moment, he hated Matt even more. He detested rich men who treated women as toys. The guy only evoked disgust in him. "Mr. Tucker, what do you want?" As soon as James' words sounded in his ears, Manager Williams immediately looked at him with respect and asked. He treated him better than his father. James's expression was ugly. He pointed at Matt and asked Manager Williams coldly, "What do I want? There is another eyesore here. Did you forget him?" Matt had stolen his girlfriend. Furthermore, he had insulted him earlier. There was no longer any friendship, however small it might be initially, between them. Since that was the case, James had nothing to worry about. "Mr. Tucker, this is on me. I'm sorry. I'll do it now." Manager Williams' heart jumped to his throat. He quickly apologized to James. In fact, the cunning Manager Williams had his own selfish motives. In his opinion, he could dispose of Natalie as he pleased because she did not have any power backing her. But Matt was different. He knew Matt's identity as an elite. As an ordinary office worker, he couldn't slight him or else he would be in for a lot of trouble. Therefore, he wanted to pretend to ignore him. While satisfying James, he tried his best not to offend Matt. But now that James had asked him to kick Matt out, he could no longer avoid this problem. Compared to James, he would definitely choose to offend Matt. Manager Williams gritted his teeth and ordered the two security guards again. "Wait a moment. Come over and kick this guy out as well." Manager Williams' actions made Matt almost vomit blood. He pointed at Manager Williams and asked sternly, "Manager Williams, you can't be mistaken, can you? I'm a VIP here. How dare you be so rude to me?" "I don't care whether you are a VIP customer or not. You offended Mr. Tucker today, so you have to leave. You two hurry up and throw him out. This farce has been disturbing the customers long enough," Manager Williams said without any hesitation, not giving Matt any face. At this juncture, he could only hold on to James's thighs and hope that he would protect him. "Manager Williams, how dare you talk to me like that? Do you know who I am? I think you don't want to live anymore." Seeing that Manager Williams dared to be so arrogant to him, Matt also lost his temper. He was an elite of New York City, not somebody like Natalie. Even though his family couldn't compare to the top families of New York City and he couldn't offend someone like James, he still wouldn't put a manager of a Western restaurant in his eyes. Even though Manager Williams was going all out this time, when Matt threatened him, he immediately became nervous. "I don't care who you are. I have the final say in today's matter. The two of you should give him a good beating. If anything happens, I'll take care of it." Manager Williams roared at Matt with red eyes. Perhaps he wanted to show off in front of James. The two burly security guards immediately pounced on Matt after receiving Manager Williams' instruction. "What are you trying to do? You dare hit me?" The sound of a fist welcomed the crowd's ears, followed by Matt's painful scream. After a short while, Matt was beaten to the ground by the two security guards. His face was swollen like a pig. Even if he had some extra strength in him, the sight of these security guards would scare anyone. These two guys were too cruel. They didn't show any mercy to him at all. If they continued to beat him, he would really lose his life here today. He no longer cared about his face. He crawled in front of James and said in a pleading tone, "James, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I was wrong. For the sake of our relationship as schoolmates, please let me go. I'll return Nat to you. I promise that I'll never offend you ever again." "Matt, you still have the nerve to call us schoolmates? When you stole my girlfriend, why didn't you think we were schoolmates then? Why didn't you remember our relationship when you humiliated me in front of everyone?" James asked. "I'm sorry. I'm just a poor peasant. I don't have that much ability. I'm afraid that I won't be able to save you today." James looked at Matt, who was kneeling in front of him. He was acting like a dog groveling at his feet. His pitiful appearance wouldn't make him forget the earlier scene, though. "James, I beg you, please let me off." Matt's face was covered in blood. He continued to plead bitterly, but James remained indifferent. In the end, Matt was beaten until he was barely hanging on his last breath. He was dragged away by the two security guards. They wanted to throw him and Natalie out together. But at that moment, Vanessa, who was in the crowd, suddenly walked over to James's side. She hugged James's arm and said coquettishly, "Mr. James, I was wondering where you were for so long, so you are here. You made me wait for you alone for a long time." Vanessa even pouted her cherry lips when she finished speaking. That cute look made James's heart melt like a candle. The relationship between these two people was clear at a glance. This caused a sensation in the entire place once again. At the same time, Vanessa's beauty instantly conquered all the men present, especially her cute actions. Their hearts beat wildly in their chests. They wanted to rush forward and embrace her, telling her that they wouldn't leave her side for their whole lives. The scene also landed in Natalie's eyes, who had just been forcefully dragged into the elevator by the security personnel. Her eyes instantly flashed with pain and regret. But all of this was already far away from her. The person standing beside James was supposed to be her. That position had originally belonged to her. But now, she was replaced by someone else, a more beautiful and outstanding girl. "I'm really sorry. I just encountered a little nuisance here, so I was delayed. Let's return to the private room." James smiled at Vanessa and pulled her to walk back to the private room. They were both good-looking and immediately attracted the envious gazes of the surrounding guests.